there was a claim out there that the officer didn't properly identify himself, and so he didn't know when he opened the door that he was an officer.
Okay, give me the statute.
Is that accurate? I mean, is it accurate that he didn't?
Let me give you the facts. He opened the door and said, "Get out," and he's wearing a police uniform. Let me tell you what else factored in. Yeah. She said in the interview, the girlfriend, she said in the interview while they were eating their burger, they saw James come into the parking lot. Now, they didn't know what he was there for, but they saw a police vehicle enter and circle the parking lot. And he wasn't looking for them, so they knew there was a cop there. So they knew there was a cop, and he's in full uniform. How does she know it was a cop and he didn't? There's nothing that says you have to identify yourself. That's more of a tactical, practical thing to do. That's not a legal requirement.
Could the difference be that they saw an actual police officer in a police vehicle, and this guy just sees a guy, frame of reference, this guy just sees a guy open a door and identify himself, and his adrenaline kicked in and couldn't properly, apart from a specific identification that he's a police officer, that could easily be clouded by the average person?
In fairness, maybe, other than the fact that he saw a cop and he knew he ran from a cop the day before, and he ran from cops 3 times after, it doesn't fit the bill. But yes, in fairness, objectively, that could be it. Although she knew it was a cop, he was right there. I mean, if you look at the video, I mean, he's like this. I mean, if I go like that and I see someone in uniform, I know they're a cop. He's got his uniform on, he's got his badge, he's got his emblem on, he's wearing a gun, he's got a belt. I mean, he knew it was a cop. He knew it was a cop, and he saw the cop enter the parking lot. So he knew the cop was in a parking lot. He knew he ran from a cop, not that cop, the night before, and then he knows.
I think what you're saying makes sense. That was the first question I had.
But that doesn't change the analysis legally. But just so you know,
I'm always wondering if it does. That's why I asked you.
Great question. So he still backs up on the cop. Then if you look at a reasonable cop standard, police person standard, police officer opens the door, and then he gets hit by a vehicle. He gets assaulted by a vehicle. So he responds with deadly force from deadly force. So the analysis doesn't change.
That was my second question.
The analysis doesn't change.
So he claims put the cars in reverse. He's kind of dragging the officer. The officer shoots him 10 times. Is your argument
shoots at him 10 times?
Is your argument that he didn't hit him 10 times? How many times did he hit him?
I don't know. I can get that for you, but I don't know exactly.
But is the argument that is not excessive use of force? So they're trying to say, I mean, come on, the first 5 were okay, the second 5 weren't. That's what they're saying. It's an excessive use of force. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've heard you talk in other forums about that, and that's an issue you care deeply about.
Yeah, I do. Okay, but there's a difference between force and deadly force. So if somebody's trying to stab you, how many times can you shoot them? Tell me how many times. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. To stop them, you don't get 1 shot per 1 thrust. So if you can fire your gun once, you can fire it 10 times. That's just the way the law stands, because you can shoot it. It's like you have 2 shots. Why didn't you shoot the arm? Why didn't you shoot the leg? And when you put people on shoot no shoot scenarios with simulated rounds, they all get killed. Every single one of them. And then the second time they kill somebody too soon, and the third time they kind of get it right.
So the notion
every time
the first 5 is okay, the second 5 is arbiary and just basically bullshit. It's about as valid as the no less than 3 feet during the COVID era. You just sort of make it up.
Maybe not. It's not made up. No, I want to be fair. I want to be objective.
That's why I'm asking.
You asked me a question that I always bring up on a use of force. If somebody comes up to me and says something, and says something to you, hey George, you fucking suck, blah blah. All right, well you suck too. Well, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. Hey, get away from me. And then he tries to hit you, and you engage in mutual combat. I want to fight you. Fuck you. Let's go fight. So you both go outside like in the old days and you duel. You put your dukes up, and you guys fight. Then you knock him out, because you're gonna win in my scenario. You knock him out, and then he's knocked out. The fight's over, and then you start stomping on his head.
Yeah.
You were right until and then once you start stomping on his head, now you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's not this scenario, because it wasn't deadly force initially. And in that scenario, the kid's not going, I give up. Now, if after the first 5 shots, he opens the door and jumps down and says, okay, I'm over, and then he kept shooting him, different. When you're looking at the reasonable belief of apparent danger and is it imminent, that analysis under 931, this scenario was completely justified. If the facts change, if the door opens, okay, I'm hit, and then he keeps shooting them, now James is going to be prosecuted, and I would agree with that prosecution.
So I don't know if this is a textbook legal definition, but basically excessive force is any force used beyond the point where it was necessary to simply stop the individual from being in imminent harm.
You're talking about proportionality, yes. Provocation.
If the guy's down, he's done, he's not a harm, and you're beating the shit out of him.
Yes.
Now you've crossed the line.
That was the whole George Floyd issue, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Sure.
That he was handcuffed. Someone's on his legs. He's handcuffed in the back. Why the knee on the neck versus the back? Now, whether it caused his death or not, I'm just telling you the theory. The theory was he's telling you I can't breathe. Get your knee off my neck. Put it on my shoulder blades, or put it. Just hold me with your hand.
I'm glad you're explaining that, because a lot of people, I think, to this day don't actually understand why things went the way they went in that case. And then lastly, I guess the last question I have is, DA is coming back and saying, look, this thing was dismissed because all we were trying to do is to make sure that these other charges that Cantu is facing aren't improperly sort of weighing in on this case. And we needed time to make sure. So we were trying to do justice by our client. And then the court got impatient. You guys stepped in and said, hey, I mean, our client has a right to a speedy trial and so forth. And so what about that argument? The notion that
we could have at some point said we don't even want to use it. We don't want to use it. Forget about it. Even this investigation that he ended up getting charged with. And I said this. I said, you watch. Now that this case is dismissed, they're gonna indict him. They're gonna walk a warrant on him tomorrow, and I was right.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna cover their ass. They didn't give a shit about it before. They could have cared less. They were giving this guy so many benefits. They didn't even care about this. So this investigation came in for ag assault, aggravated kidnapping, whatever, deadly conduct.
Already?
No, they didn't. I don't know. They walked a warrant on him immediately.
Okay.
I knew they were going to. I told everybody on our team that was going to happen because they want to cover their asses.
Yeah.
That's exactly. But we could have said at some point, if the judge was uncomfortable that there wasn't enough to impeach him under 613 of a rule of evidence, you can impeach someone because the government is conferring a benefit to you or some interest to you. So all of his bullshit was going to come into court. All of his 6 gifts that they gave him, the fact that they extended and conferred all these benefits to him so he can prosecute against, testify against a police officer, all that became relevant because it's going to, theoretically, we could argue that it influenced his testimony to give the government a benefit so they can benefit him. Mm-hmm. So if they said we can't properly defend against it, we could have said, we're not even going to use it. We got plenty of other stuff to use. Not to mention we have the facts on our side. We didn't need a shitty complainant to defend James Brennan. We didn't need that. We happened to have a shitty complainant, but we didn't need one. We were going to defend him on the facts and the law, and they weren't analyzing the whole spectrum of the law. Does that make sense?
All right. When they talk about refiling the case, I mean...
They're not refiling anything. I mean, they're not going to refile this case. Number two, for two reasons. I think. I mean, the judge can do what he wants, and we'll cross that bridge if we get there. But you have James Brennan sitting there with his lawyers, me and Jason Goss, and they're saying, 4 years we've been waiting, Judge. No, we went back and forth in an argument to why we can go forward. We can use what we can use this time. Look how quick they walked these warrants.
I know.
So look, they walked the warrant. Trial was supposed to start Monday, so they could have walked this warrant Monday. And this whole game we've been playing, this circus on we got to finish the investigation bullshit. Well, they finished it quick. How quick did they finish it when they needed to cover their ass?
This was always part of the plan.
It was always part of their plan. So Monday, we start trial Monday. We would have been prepping this whole time. They should have, theoretically, walked the warrant. So when they're saying we still need to finish, well, somebody was bullshitting the DA's office, allegedly, because they walked that warrant. I wonder why that happened so quickly. And they didn't know that was going to happen? Well, now we're good, so let's start that trial on Monday. So it was all a facade.
Right.
But so aside from that, you have James and Judge Perez did a great job on this. He said, Mr. Brennan, we asserted his right, which we can as his counsel, but Judge Perez did something different. He said, Mr. Brennan, are you asserting your right to speedy trial? 4 years. He goes, yes, sir, I am. He goes, denied your motion for continuance. So you have an assertion of a constitutional right of a speedy right, and then they're going to dismiss so they can circumvent someone's constitutional right to now that we've investigated this better and we're going to come forward. Bullshit. We would file a motion to bar prosecution for want of speedy trial and for them, not giving him his speedy trial and trying to circumvent his speedy trial. And the judge will make his ruling, and we would appeal it if it was an adverse ruling, but it's complete bullshit. This is a game with this DA's office.
What happens next to James? I mean, like...
I mean, he's going to have to prayerfully consider what he wants to do, whether he comes back into law enforcement in some form or fashion or what. But I mean, look. There's a piece of me that wanted to take the DA's office to task. I mean, that's just the fighter in me, and I wanted to expose them, not out of revenge, not out of malice, for justice sake. For truth and justice. Let it, whatever the chips fall, they fall. I wanted to expose them. So I would have loved to try this case against any. They could put the whole office on the other side. Put the whole fucking office on the other side. Bring Joe Gonzalez's little weak ass, pansy ass down, sir. I'd try the case. Well, he was going to be a witness, by the way, so he couldn't try the case. We were going to subpoena him, cross-examine him and Christian about the Wren Collective and how they were being their puppets. I wouldn't have called them that, but it would have made the point. And so they knew all this stuff.
Yeah.
But so there's something inside the justice, the fighter in me wanted that. But what's best for James was this result. So God's grace abounded. Judge Perez made the right call, and the DA's office did what they did. And it's not the ADAs that handled the case. I mean, Neil, it's not his fault. Nicole, it's not her fault. It's not them. It's the hack that calls himself the DA that's going to be out of here in January.